Hello, my name is Matthew Sear, and I am recording a brief video demonstrating my command line interface tool written in Ruby for my portfolio project for the Flatiron School. I wrote this tool called MTG Event Info. MTG is a game, Magic the Gathering. It's a collectible card game for which there are several competitive events, usually held at least once a week or several times a month. And I wrote this tool for being able to select a criterion by which to sort and display event info. And so I will demonstrate how the tool works to do that. So whenever you initiate it, it welcomes you, gives you a few options for displaying event information, and allows you to enter a number corresponding to that choice, or to enter exit to exit the program. And so if we press 1 for date, it will display chronologically a list of events that are coming up. And if you press a number corresponding to the event you want more information about, it displays the full information, including the format, which I'll talk more about in a second, as well as an event URL, at which you can usually find out more information about the event and how to register and so forth. And so if you type list, again, it'll display the list. And you can find more information about each event you want to. And then you can press back to go back to the main menu. Now if you select 2 for format, it'll give you a list of formats, which basically indicates whether you're constructing your deck ahead of time and bringing it to the event, or constructing it at the event to play there. And if you are constructing it ahead of time, what cards you are allowed to include in it. So standard is a constructed format. If we enter that, it'll show us all the upcoming events for standard. And it will also tell us if we enter an invalid number. If we go back, go to event again, it will also tell us if there are no events that are coming up for a given format. So yeah, and then we can press back to go back, and then the location groups events according to location, which was actually kind of tricky at first, but basically if there are more than one event at like a given location, it will show all of the events for that location. So I think all of them except for Syracuse have the have just one event. If you do Syracuse, it'll show both events, so that's pretty cool. And you can press list to go back to the list of locations, and then back to go back to the main menu. So the tool will definitely be more useful whenever there are multiple sources of event info included in the tool, in the scraping class. I'll give a brief overview of the program itself and how it works. So basically, whenever I start the program, I am initiating MTG event info file, and that will call on the CLI file within the MTG event info folder, and that will instantiate a new object based on the class in that file, and then it'll run the call method. And when we run the call method on this new object, it puts out the welcome message and then runs menu, and when you exit, it'll also display the exit message. But menu is really where a lot of the action's happening, and that's what solicits the user's input for the main list of options, and then runs a method that lists the events according to that selection. And so list events is right here. It takes in the selection, and then based on the selection, it outputs the list. And the first and third options, the date and location options, run basically the same. So whenever you're selecting the initial option for date or location, it's just going to output a list of the events basically. But with format, you have a submenu, so whenever we do that, it's going to do its own version here, where it's kind of like listing it goes through like a little bit of a sub method, or like I guess a sub while statement that has an if statement contained in it that allows you to select the format and then list the events according to format. So there's its own special method. I tried to abstract things as much as I possibly could so that there wasn't a lot of redundant code, but based on the way that these things are each a little bit different, I had to do some things that were specific to that type of selection. And so this all starts to whenever we the list events by is the main method that runs. It gives us those options up front, the date, format, and location, and it creates an instance variable which is set equal to the all method that's called on the other file class here, the mtg event info class. And so that's what causes all of the scraping to actually happen. So all calls self-scrape events, and self-scrape events sets an events instance variable equal to an array, which then gets populated by the push method that's called, and the argument that's passed in is a hash containing information about the event that was scraped, and that's set up for so far for Star City Games and Channel Fireball, another large tournament organizer. So yeah, it's a relatively simple overall, but a lot of complex code that kind of goes on underneath there, or at least it's complex to me because I'm just getting started. But in any case, I appreciate you watching, and hope that you found this video useful. Thank you.